guys. So let's start with some what you got. If you're new to the show, here's how this works. We're going to debate some NBA questions that Trey's going to throw at us. Ultimately, sort of pick an answer, but you got to be careful. There's only one correct response, and that's whatever TK says it is. Trey.
The East got beastly this trade deadline as three of the top teams made big moves to get better. 76ers kicked things off by adding Tobias Harris. Milwaukee then responded by adding Nikola Mirotic, to which the Raptors finished things off by adding Marc Gasol. Guys, which team is the most improved East contender? The 76ers, Bucks, or Raptors? What you got?
Whoa, it's tough.
It is tough. I think I'm going to go with the 76ers because they added a guy amongst those three who is definitely going to be in the starting lineup. We don't know that about Marc Gasol. Nikola Mirotic will be coming off the bench. Tobias Harris was a 20-plus point per game guy on a winner. That doesn't mean the Philadelphia 76ers are a lock to win the Eastern Conference. They have a tough ecosystem to manage there, and I don't just mean on the floor with four guys who can score, five guys really who can score at any time, but also in the locker room with Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris there as your 3-4 guys. It's going to be terribly, terribly tough to make everybody happy. Tobias Harris should be able to fit in because he is a team guy, and it has happened earlier on in his career. But you're adding what would have been an all-star in the Eastern Conference this season to an Eastern Conference team. And, hey, the Bucks and Raptors are already great. The Sixers had lots of room to improve. Raps, Bucks, they're already.
So you picked the Sixers as most improved, but maybe this was the biggest gamble of the three teams.
Yeah.
In terms of, especially when you look at what they gave to get Tobias Harris and what they might have to figure out come free agency in the summer. Do you lose Tobias Harris? Do you lose Jimmy Butler? But you're saying if they get it to work here in this short amount of time, I mean, that's a deadly starting five that they do have when you put Redick into the mix with their big four now. So I do agree with that.
And they figured it out. They figured it out the bench a little bit as well. You know, T.J. McConnell was probably the only guy who was a lock to start on the bench that was still there. But Mike Scott, Boban Marjanovic, you go get James Ennis, you go get Jonathan Simmons. You look at a buyout candidate. They were pretty shallow after that trade, but they found a way to get a little deeper.
You agree with this?
Yes. I mean, I also like Mike Scott as a bit of an underrated signing there. He can be that sort of Bellinelli or Ilyasova that they had last year, so he's not bad. But I like Mirotic to the Bucks because it cost them nothing. And Mirotic, we know, is a sort of guy who doesn't need the ball in his hands all that much. He's going to help spread the floor.
Yeah.
And if he gets hot like we saw last year at around this time with the Pelicans, then all of a sudden the Bucks become an even more formidable offense. So I think this is one of those things where the Bucks didn't really need to make a huge move, but Mirotic was available. They gave up basically Thon Maker to go get him, and now they just add another three-point shooter around Giannis, which is basically the way they plan. Spread the floor, allow Giannis to either go inside and dominate, and if he can't dominate, and throw the ball out to someone on the perimeter. We've seen Brook Lopez doing it, Middleton's been doing it, Bledsoe at times this year, and now you add Mirotic, is a sort of guy who can hit 5, 6, 7 threes in a game at any one time. I think this is a fantastic move by the Bucks.
Okay, well, let me make a case for the Raptors then.
Yeah.
They each get one.
Homer.
Why not? Yeah, you can say Homer. Look, their best chance to keep Kawhi, we've talked about it, is to probably go very, very deep into the playoffs. Maybe even to the finals. They've helped their chances going to get Marc Gasol at doing that. I'm not saying they're a lock. I'm not saying they're even better than some of these teams. But they have helped their chances upgrading Valanciunas as their big guy there in the middle to Marc Gasol. And he's not Marc Gasol from 5 years ago that was winning Defensive Player of the Year. I get that. He's a little older. He's a little slower. But he's still crafty. He can shoot better than Valanciunas, so he's helped stretch the floor a little bit for the Raptors, like a Mirotic there with the Bucks and Giannis. And he's a great playmaker. And he's got some reps in the playoffs, too. So, all three of these are very nice. These are great players. I mean, any team would be happy to have these guys, and you add them into the mix on an already good three teams. That's solid. But this is tough. It's tough, and then the Celtics didn't really do much, but they're still a great team. Trey, my man, is it the Raptors, is it the Bucks, or is it the Sixers as the most improved East candidate here?
For me, it's got to be the Bucks. Mirotic just seems like a plug-and-play player. They don't have much figuring out to do. Should be pretty easy.